Does the mainstream media enable crap like Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows to get out there? Is this something that has emboldened these activists over the years? And the answer obviously is yes. Asmongold had a wonderful comment about this today, which I really want to elaborate on, because everything that Kotaku does, PC Gamer does, and the like really causes problems, and it costs people's jobs, it costs people's livelihoods in the long run, and they don't care about it because they're so all in on the woke DEI agenda that that's what's more important to them than anything else. Now, there are always going to be massive investors that come in and capitalize off this as well. Part of the conspiracy here is that this Chinese-owned Tencent went in and bought a large portion of this company to create this new sort of IP owning property of Ubisoft big name deals just because they knew they could devalue the company and then extract the value out of it afterwards. There's bad actors on every single level on this, and it's such an interesting case study here with Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're going to get into it in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in the culture, especially when it comes to the hot video games that are out there. Really appreciate you guys for being there. This is my Fandom Pulse Substack, and we're doing the opposite of what the mainstream media is doing. We are covering books, video games, TV movies, comics, tabletop games, celebrities, and culture, and more. I would love for you guys to sign up on here. It's in the description below. And don't miss any of our stories, because we are telling the truth that nobody else in the media is, and that's why we're growing so quickly. We're over 4,000 subscribers to this Substack now, and I really appreciate you guys for making this such a success. Now, yesterday, John Trent covered the article on the Tencent buying this Ubisoft sort of deal. And it's pretty interesting to people who are saying, oh, Ubisoft took a massive L and the like. And I'm kind of just sitting here like, did they though? Because the guys at the top just got an injection of over $1 billion. They just got somebody to hand them $1 billion. So they not only were able to push their political agenda, sink the company, they were able to reap the profits on it. So the people who are actually taking the L are the employees who are just doing the coding, who are all going to get just slashed very, very soon. If you looked at the coded message from the CEO yesterday, these jobs are going to be gone very, very shortly is what's going to happen. China's going to come in. They're going to cut things. They're going to slash the big bloated budget. They're going to make it a place where we can make great video games again. I mean, it's really bizarre, the language that they use. It's like they're admitting that they knew they weren't making great video games as this all went on. And so this is all the result of their trying to force and push DEI, trying to push this right here. This is their target demographic, this guy who calls matching divas. Oh, yeah, what a diva, that Yasuke. And this is what they want. They want everything to be this weird RuPaul Drag Race version of reality that's not out there, that there's not really a market for. And so they are trying to push the culture in this direction. The more that they do, the more that they get a few people to accept it, the more that they can push. If you look at it these days, I mean, it's pretty wild. We just came off of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where it had anti-Christian signaling throughout the entire game. It had this like modernistic crap in one of their quests where they actually had root out anti-Semitism, which was not a thing during the Crusades at all. It had optional gay sex, where they had a graphic gay sex scene in it, and it had a black guy inserted into medieval Bohemia where there wouldn't have been one, and actually the developer used to argue that there wouldn't have been one there before he got picked up by, of course, Embracer Group. And Embracer Group is owned by BlackRock, injecting capital into it to inject DEI into it. It's a vicious circle on this level. Now, a lot of people accepted that game. They're like, oh, it's good. It's good DEI. And it's like, wow, how we have gone to a point in our society where you can have a graphic gay sex scene into something and people just go, it's not that much of the game. And I'm actually seeing people say this about Ubisoft as well. I've seen some channels argue that this game here, there's a little bit of DEI in it, but for the most part, it's a fun Assassin's Creed game. And it's like, that's how they get you every single time. You know, when they actually started arguing with this stuff, they would put gay marriage on the ballot, and everybody universally said, no, we're not going to just get rid of our institutions and all that. The reason why is because obviously that leads to different cultural implications. Now, they started arguing on a level where they just said, oh gosh, well, gay people can't see their loved ones in hospitals, which was a lie, by the way. But it played on people's heartstrings, right? It's like, oh, well, I mean, this is a bad lifestyle and we don't want kids into this, but we should let people on their deathbed see each other in hospitals, right? I mean, and so they got people to slowly change their minds on it with arguments like that, which is called the slippery slope, how things just slowly change and move the Overton window of what's acceptable and what's not in culture. That's what's been done here. That's the only reason we got to this point in Assassin's Creed. Fast forward 20 years now, they're doing drag shows in children's libraries and comic book stores and things like that. It's wild what's going on out there, and they're trying to tell kids in the classrooms that you could be a transgender person. You should not tell your parents, and we'll just take you down to the clinic to get you some hormones. I mean, that's what's happening in our culture over the last several years. Now, of course, Americans overwhelmingly voted against that. They pushed way too far, but in their pushing too far, they've still gone back to a point where there's a lot of people who still accept just a little bit of DEI as if it's okay, right? And anything that just has a little bit of DEI kind of gets ignored by the general populace at this point. Another example was X-Men 97 from Disney Plus last year. That had Morph, the character from the old show, gay for Wolverine, and he was portrayed as a non-binary character. The showrunner is a gay OnlyFans guy who's out there just arguing with people on the internet all the time, trying to push his agenda. And yet people, for the most part, on YouTube were like, yeah, this is a great X-Men installment. It's like, well, you just ignored the DEI elements to it. And that is the danger that's being caused through all this stuff. And that's what they're trying to push, because they know if they push it long enough, they can move that window to where nobody would even notice that you just put in a black samurai that's gay for a non-binary dude out there, because that's just something that's in every game. It's fine. And that is the agenda here that's going so crazy. So what Asmongold said here in this interesting clip, he says, you have a lot of people on Twitter who like to virtue signal about how much fun they're having playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, etc. You enabled this. You are enabling a company to make decisions that would cause the loss of thousands of jobs. And that is exactly what the media does. Other than moving the Overton window to where there are a portion of people who accept this, the media going out there and just shilling for this stuff like this is just gaslighting enough people that they are going to cost a lot of jobs. And Assassin's Creed Shadows 100% failed at this juncture. It didn't get zero sales and all that, but Ubisoft needed this because it cost so much money to make, to sell at least 5 million copies, maybe even 8 million copies to break even. And so because it underperformed, because enough people were turned off by the DEI sort of situation, this actually did just sink Ubisoft as a company. That's why they've changed at this point on this level. And again, the people who are getting hurt by this are not going to be the people who own Ubisoft. They just got injected with money for doing so. They got their payoff for, of course, selling their souls out there. This is exactly what happened. And the people who are going to be out there are going to be the ones losing the jobs that are going to have problems now. You are enabling a company to make decisions that would cause the loss of thousands of jobs. Asmongold talks about how nobody is playing or watching AC Shadows streams. The numbers are bad. My explanation of his clip below. Everyone who shilled for Ubisoft actually led the company to believe what they were doing was right, and they never got real feedback to make the game a success. Correct. Toxic positivity, and that's a word I've heard associated with Ubisoft from employees directly as well. And woke shills did this to themselves, and they will likely have caused the loss of thousands of jobs. The more people being fake gamers that will buy the game and prop up bad decisions for ESG and DEI on social media, campaign for it for years, have caused the downfall of AAA gaming overall. It's a very interesting case study, like I said, because this whole deal with this like side shill media just tells all these people, because if you look at their responses on all this stuff, they always go, oh, it's just a handful of very vocal people. This is how they always start it. And those vocal people are toxic, and they're toxic gamers, and they just, they're not the usual person, though. Our modern audiences are out there, and they love this game. It's really sad these people on the internet just can't let you enjoy things. That's how they start with things. And then, of course, they start then calling you bigots and saying that you ruined the game, that it's your fault for just calling it out to begin with. But here's the deal. It is the fault of these people for enabling them. The people who are out there that keep, at IGN giving it a 9 out of 10 when it's like a, 5 or 6 out of 10 game in reality, are the ones that just make the management at Ubisoft think they're on the right track this entire time and go and because They have a parasocial relationship where Ubisoft gives them access. They then give them accolades. Ubisoft gives them more access. They're incentivized to keep doing this. It's such a weird market on that level, and they have to almost do it. And this is what the ad revenue sort of model just begets, because if you are beholden to ad revenue, you can't tell the truth on this stuff. That's why we did something different here on Fandom Pulse with no advertising, because when we just rely on the actual gamers out there, we have just subscriptions and patrons that actually help us so that we can just tell the unfiltered truth. And that's why we've been such a success, where every other website out there has pretty much failed on this level. They're all beholden to the ad systems. Everybody who's attempted to do it. We came originally from Bounding Into Comics. If you don't know, Bounding Into Comics was the one place that told the truth for a while. And they bowed to the pressure because they, like Ubisoft, were bought by a Chinese-owned company who then wanted to change things over there, and their content radically changed. Now they've got like AI articles, like top 8 Marvel things, like these days, just like every other website these days. We also, John Trent came from That Park Place, and because the same thing, they got advertising sort of deal, and they didn't want him to tell his hard-hitting headlines or anything like that. They wanted him to tone it down. They kind of suffered over there too as a result. So whenever you go through this advertising model, when you're beholden to the corporations, you have the same problem every single time. And these people that do enable it do eventually cause jobs to be lost because of this. That whole ecosystem is just completely toxic, and that's exactly why we did something completely different here. So this is what happened yesterday. Ubisoft announced this. They got this injection, which actually, again, the guys at the top are raking out billions out of this because they sold it off, and the Chinese are going to rake out billions out of this too, because what's going to happen here? They own all these brands now at a discount because of what happened. The only people hurt by this are everybody who was hired along the way, and it's all because of the shill media and what they did on this level. So this is it. They're going to include teams with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry franchises here. They claim it's going to be based in Montreal and Quebec and the like. But here's the deal. You know exactly what's going to happen once these Chinese get their hands on it. They're going to start moving everything to China because it's a little cheaper, and a lot of these people are going to lose their jobs because they are bloated and they have problems right there. And so all these people that Assassin's Creed brought on, claiming that they're huge successes, right, are going to get their due very, very soon, and they know it. And this is the toxic positivity campaign that they're doing on the socials right now. 3 million players. Notice players. They never say sales, right? This is what they're doing right here because they're pretending like it's a big, big deal. Biggest Ubisoft day one ever on PlayStation Digital Store. Second highest day one sales revenue for Assassin's Creed franchise history. Day one. What happened after that? This is a week later, and they're saying that. Very odd stuff because it's all obfuscating sort of numbers here. And we know that 3 million players is not anywhere near where they're going to actually move the needle. You look on Steam, it's really looking dismal. They hit a peak of 64,000, which means Dragon Age the Veilguard did a lot better than this over the course of the first week. 33,000 players on week 2 means they've already lost half their player base. People are tuning out of this game. They're done with it. And that's what's happening. It's a big media lie, and that's why we need a difference. So guys, please, imperative, sign up for Fandom Pulse in the description below. I'm going to put this right there. I've got books. I make my own books as well. I've got a merch store. Would love for you to support our channel. Thank you so much for the support. This is where the real news is at, and we do this, both John Trent and I, full-time, and so we need your help to keep this going sustainably. Thank you so much for making us a success. We just started this in November, and we're already making waves as one of the most important media outlets out there, and it's because we tell the truth. This is what needs to be done for the future of gaming. This is what needs to be done for the future of all pop culture, and we appreciate you for being here. We'll be back soon.